have decided to join on time. Very much welcome. You are welcome to this webinar that has been put together by Trade Lender for the advancement of just the businesses that you run and just for your own information as well. We'll begin in a few minutes. So thank you again, everybody, for joining. If there's anybody that you know needs to be here, this is a very good time for you to share the link once again with them to register and be a part of the webinar. My name is Linda Ikwe. I am legal counsel and for Trade Lender Com Limited, and I will be moderating this webinar today. We really appreciate your attendance, and as a show of appreciation, we have, as you mentioned, if you must have seen our publications with respect to the webinar, we had information put out with respect to people who will be joining in early enough to be a part of this session today. We do have some freebies, for members, people who have joined us this early. So we will be sharing some complimentary gifts to you, but there's a catch to it. You have to be registered on the platform, on our Trade Lender platform. So if you are here on the call and you do not have the Trade Lender app on your phone, you can very quickly go to your Apple Store or a Play Store and download the app so that you can be a participant to this complimentary gifts that we have available for everyone. So you download the app and your wallet will be credited with the funds that acts as the complimentary gift. Can I get confirmation, maybe an emoji, a thumbs up or something from the participants to confirm that you heard me and that you are downloading the app if you do not already have the app? Okay, I can see some names. Judith, Colette, awesome, 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 awesome. All right. So we will proceed without any good. Awesome. So as I said, if you already do not have the Trade Lender app, this is a great time for you to download the app and have access to a complimentary gift for our early attendees for this webinar. All righty, we're going to be beginning in 2 minutes. I'm using the time to give you the opportunity to actually download the app if you already do not have the app, and someone will, once you do that, someone will, you can write in the chat box that you have downloaded the app. You can also write in chat box if you already have the app. Someone on the back end will take note of your name and will be able to share the information with you, share the gifts with you as we promised. We are a company that keeps to our word. And so to appreciate you for showing up as early as you have shown up, we will be doing that. I'm looking forward to seeing the messages on the chat box that you have downloaded the app, the Trade Lender app. It's very easy to find. You can go to your Play Store or your Apple Store as well to get it. While we wait for more people to join in. As I said earlier, if you know somebody, a fellow business owner, someone who is going to greatly benefit from this webinar, you should be reaching out to the person. We start in 2 minutes and we don't want these people to miss out on the information that is going to be shared, on just the light that will be shared on topics around tax laws for small and medium scale enterprises. All right. So we will proceed with the webinar. I want to first of all, once again, take our time to welcome you to this webinar that we have put together. I can see on the chat box um, that there's further information around how to download the app. So please, as it's stated there, please go to the Google Play Store or Apple App Store and search for Trade Lender, and you will download it and have access to um, the app and have access to the freebies. Earlier on, I said that my name is Linda Ipre. I'm the legal counsel for Trade Lender Com Limited, and I will be the moderator of this session. I would say that you should introduce yourself. Please go into the chat box, introduce yourself, state the kind of business that you run, why exactly you are here, what you're looking forward to um, gaining from this webinar, so that we can meet ourselves in the chat box. We are really interested in, connecting in the way that we need to connect in the sector that we have found ourselves in. So again, you are welcome to the webinar. Our webinar topic is Stay Smart, Stay Compliant, Navigating Nigeria's New Tax Law for SMEs. That's what our webinar topic is. We are going to be having very insightful conversations around the new tax laws and how they affect you as a small business owner, as a medium scale business owner, how they affect you, how you can handle yourself with respect to the tax reforms, and just how you will be able to properly stay compliant. But before we go into talking about the laws. Just once again, I'd like to share that this webinar is brought to you by Trade Lender Company Limited. We have been in the business for a pretty good amount of years, and we have been doing a great work of ensuring that small and medium scale businesses and business owners have feel included rather in their ability to um, have access to financial tools to be able to run sustainable businesses. TradeLender is a digital SME focused financial services platform, and we and tools to be able to fully scale their businesses. And sometimes this has been found out that is due to probably lack of financial literacy or just not being up to par in the class of people who are, for lack of better way to put it, fit for you know to have access to these tools. And therefore, this is where Trade Lender has come in. Trade Lender has come in with solutions um, that help to bridge this gap that helps to allow people like you who run these kinds of businesses on this scale to be able to have access to financial assistance, to have access to credit facilities, just so that you are able to run your businesses sustainably and just for never for you to be able to scale as much as you need. Some of the solutions that Trade Lender has put together to bridge this gap, working capital and assets tailored to SME needs. So it's very important that you understand that what we do at Trade Lender is we listen to you, see you with the gap, and we assist you to make you feel and know that you are um, doing the right thing in your business and give you the hope that you can actually advance your business without having to go through most of the bureaucracies and the things that would typically serve as a roadblock to advancement of your business. Also, one of the solutions that we make available is health insurance for business owners, savings and investment solutions to promote financial stability and wealth creation. Another solution is digital bill payments and collections infrastructure to improve cash flow management. POS services to enable seamless financial transactions. You and I can already tell that in order to, with the way society is moving now, with the way businesses are going now, especially for small scale businesses and medium scale businesses, having an operating a POS terminal is a necessity at this point. It's not even a luxury because of how easy it is to have access to funds, to make payments, and to just have seamless financial transactions. And this is one of the things that TradeLender majors on, to be able to ensure that you actually run a business that is without any challenges, and to, as much as possible, reduce the challenges to the barest minimum as much as we can. Another solution that we have available is SME empowerment and capacity building programs, delivering financial literacy, business training, and credit readiness support. We pride ourselves on ensuring that we educate small and medium scale business owners on all that they need to know per time in order for them to run successful businesses, because it's very possible for you to be running your business from a place of ignorance. And what that does to you is you are not able to shift with the times. You will not be able to operate your business from a place of understanding, and just the time and the tides will just go by without you being fully aware, and without you receiving, having all that you need to fully maximize the opportunities that you have. The Nigerian fiscal landscape right now is undergoing a massive transformation with the enactment of the 2025 Tax Reforms Act. The aim of this webinar, this is exactly what informed this webinar, because as I said earlier, the Tax Reforms Act has come on, as well as many other laws that will be enacted as time goes on. One of the major reasons why we run this webinars, why we conduct them, is so that we can keep you updated. We can listen to your questions, answer them with the help of the professional that is going to be joining us to speak to us and shed light, and essentially shed light on these laws, on these updates, for you to be able to walk with your eyes open and with light on in your business, so that you don't stumble as you proceed, so that you run sustainable businesses, so that you are able to operate with all of the understanding that you need. With this webinar, it is designed to help small and medium scale enterprises to understand the shift that is happening, especially with respect to the Tax Reforms Act that has been enacted. It's going to help you understand properly the shifts that is happening, how it affects your business, how you can better position yourself to be compliant, because we are in a country that operates with laws, and you can say that you are not you are ignorant of the fact that of some facts, right? But you cannot say in good conscience that you're ignorant of the law when it comes to operating your business, because what happens is that whether or not you're aware of the law still stands, and it will still operate because it has been put out. That is why we put things like this together, to bring you to put you in the know, to give you all of the tools that you need to be able to fully operate your business from a compliant point of view. So this webinar is aimed at ensuring that you are compliant with the tax reforms based on the information we'll be getting, to shed light on the tax reforms, and ensure that you are compliant, and also help you to be able to maximize whatever opportunities are available to you, for you to be able to operate a sustainable business, right? That's what this webinar is for. So if you are here and you know someone who needs to be on the call right now, you should be sending them the last minute links for them to get on it, register, get on the webinar call, and get more informed with respect to the things that needs to be done about their business. So we are very much excited about how today's webinar is going to go. We are excited for all of the information that we're going to be getting, right? I hope you have your notepads. I hope you have your writing materials, and you have put aside every form of distraction, because you are about to have a very educative and insightful time with us today. Without further ado, I will be calling up our speaker for today. Our speaker for today is none other than Mr. Dele Ogunjobi. He's going to be taking FCTI. He's going to be shedding light on the tax reforms, what it means for you as a small and medium scale business owner, what it means for you, how you can better position yourself. Mr. Dele is not just a regular accountant. He's not someone that just started, in his field. He's been in his field for a long, long time. Mr. Dele Isaac Ogunjobi, FCTI, is a professional accountant. He's a tax expert, a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants, and a certified management consultant by the International Council of Management Consultants Institutes. Mr. Dele holds a master's in business administration and majors in financial management. He also has a BSc in accountancy and also holds a diploma in information technology. He has over 25 years of work experience, cutting across various industries, ranging from healthcare, manufacturing, real estate, hospitality, oil and gas, and mining. He majors in finance, trade services, reconciliations, investment viability and analysis. Currently, he is the Chief Financial Officer of Uni Medical Healthcare Limited, Nigeria. Join us this morning, ready to receive from this from his wealth of knowledge. Join us this morning as we welcome our esteemed speaker for today, Mr. Dele Isaac Ogunjobi, FCTI. At this point, I want you to begin to send your clapping emojis, put them up so we can make our speaker welcome, even as we appreciate him for his time today. You're very welcome, much welcome, sir. Thank you so much for your time here with us, and we're looking forward to enjoy this session with you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you for that introduction. That was powerful. Thank you. And I trust that we're going to be having a good time this morning while we speak through the tax policy, the reforms, and how it's going to be affecting us as business individuals. This morning, I think I have a couple of minutes allocated. So I hope that we'll be able to do justice to the time. Okay, that's fine. I think my slide can my slide be up? Thank you so much, Linda.
I'm sorry, I missed you for a second. Did you say something, sir?
Oh, okay. So I think I just went blank. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay. So that's fine.
All right.
So I might have to speak through the slides as we progress. So today, basically, we'll be talking to every business owner, what we expect every business owner to know about the new tax law. So this will take us through where we're coming from and where we're actually heading to. If you look at what John Keynes says, he says the avoidance of taxes is the only intellectual pursuit that still carries any reward. That quote is a cynical remark that Keynes was making. What is simply telling us is that we can take advantage of tax avoidance while we do away with tax evasion. Tax evasion is criminal, is not advisable for anyone to be found under tax evasion. But for tax avoidance, for every informed individual, every informed businesses will be able to take advantage of what the law has given. Now, the agenda for today, first I will be talking about the big picture. I said the big picture is why the tax law have changed and what are the new key acts. The second one, there is the winners and opportunities that is embedded in the new tax law, the significance of the relief for small businesses and the low-income earners. The key changes for all, that is for all the businesses. We'll talk about the VAT reforms, the new levies, and the unified tax ID. and also be talking about compliance and penalties, what you must not do, what you must do now, rather, to avoid trouble. What we must do now to avoid trouble. So we go straight to why the change. Now, the objective of this, the new tax act, is actually to take us from where the trajectory we're coming from. For a long time, the tax had been in a particular position, over 50, 60 years, without any major amendment. But this new tax reform has come in the form that every business owners should take advantage of. And how do you take advantage of is actually identifying those changes. One of those objectives for the government is that they want to simplify the tax system. They want to boost the revenue, like what we have in 2024, 2025, and 2026. The target for 2026 is 40.7 trillion, which means that the government is moving about 44% increase from what they had in 2025, and make compliance easier, which means that without necessarily being waylaid on the road and touts harassing us, the government want to make it simplified. The new landscape also for what we have before now is that the Federal Inland Revenue is the one taking charge of the tax, but the name has been changed from Federal Inland Revenue now to what we call the Nigeria Revenue Service, with an expanded mandate that the scope of what they do now increases, which means that they don't only take tax revenue, they take all revenue for the federal government. But the core philosophy for this tax reform is that, one, reduce the burden of low-income earners, and also make sure that the small businesses, they are able to strive. The new key acts, those acts, all the acts we have, over 60, have been subsumed into just 4 acts. And these 4 acts are the Nigerian Tax Act of 2025, the Nigerian Tax Administration Act of 2025, the NTAA, the Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Act of 2025. We also have the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act of 2025. So these are the major 4 that the new tax act has brought up. Now, if you look at all what we'll be discussing, majorly is sitting with the NTA, which is the Nigerian Tax Act of 2025. In this act, it has unified all the acts, all the taxes, multiple taxes that the federal government has. It has unified them together. So we will not be talking about Capital Gains Tax Act separately. We'll not be talking about Petroleum Tax Act separately. We'll not be talking about Casino Tax Act separately. We'll just be talking about Nigerian Tax Act, one, unifying all of them together. Next slide. So for the big news for all the small medium enterprise is that there will be no more company tax for businesses that are within 100 million, which is completely different from what we have before. And if we also have, as a business owner, we also have about 250 million worth of assets. Your assets includes your building, your assets include your laptops, your assets include your vehicle that you use to run your logistics or move your staff from one location to the other. You are completely exempted if you are within 250 million and 100 million turnover. There will also be no more minimum tax. What do we mean by minimum tax? Minimum tax is what was operational in the old tax law. The old tax law does not mind whether a business is striving or it's not striving. What the old tax law does is that when you prepare your accounts and you make profit at the end of the year, there is a threshold that the government must still collect as tax. But this new tax law, what it has done to us is that it now enables you to know that if you don't make profit in your business, you are not going to pay tax. Nobody is going to tax you what we call the minimum tax any longer in the new current dispensation. And also for VAT, which we call the value added tax. So we now have exemptions. Small businesses are also exempted from registering for, charging VAT, remitting VAT. So you are exempted completely if you are a small business. Like I've mentioned, a small business are businesses that their turnover is less or equal to 100 million and with an asset that is no more than 250 million. So if you fall within this category, which you are supposed to be the customer of trade lender, so you are expected to be operating without necessarily paying tax, having this knowledge. What's changing for medium and large businesses? Now, with the new tax also, we are going to have an understanding that there will be nothing that we call medium category. What do I mean by medium category? Before we have the nano, we have the small, we have the medium, and we have the large, and we have the multinational. So, but from the new tax law, he has demystified that he has now created just two. Is either you are small, within 100 million turnover, and you'll be completely exempted, or you are standard. Standard means that you have turnover above 100 million. So the moment you are standard, you are liable to pay tax, and you are seen to have thrived. You have moved out of the corridor of small businesses that you are now in a standard position. So the new development levy is part of what is now being introduced also in the new tax law. These are part of what is new. Before now, the new development levy replaced what we call the tertiary education tax, the NTID, that's the technology tax. It also replaces what we call the police trust fund. So all these are now put together to have just one levy, which is 4% development levy. However, as a small business, you are also exempted from this development levy. You are not meant to pay any amount. So the minimum tax that is now introduced is introduced majorly for large company that has turnover of over 50 billion. So which means that if you are part of that, if your company is part of a multinational, that they have about 750 million pounds in total aggregate turnover, you are regarded as part of those large companies, and you are expected to pay an effective tax rate of 15%. Next. So part of what we need to speak to today is value-added tax. And why do I want us to speak about value-added tax? Is because it cut across. And because of this new law, it has given a level playing ground for everyone that are into business. For businesses that ordinarily they cannot strive. With this VAT and the new amendment that has been done to it, you have chances to also thrive as a small business enterprise. So the rate remains 7.5. The VAT rates that we used to have was 7.5. The new law also still admits that it should remain at 7.5. However, those rules that works around it has completely changed. So we'll talk about the rules. The input VAT is now recoverable. What do I mean by input VAT recoverable? Before now, if you are into production or you trade, certain businesses for instance, agricultural business, food, are expected not to be vatable. Is either you are zero vatted or you are exempt. Now, because of the way the old law was, we had a lot of lacuna in the old law. You are not able to recover some of those input VATs. Those input VAT are the amount that they charge. If you buy a mobile phone, you buy a laptop, they charge you a VAT, but you are not meant to pay as a zero rated organization or business. So how do you get your money back? The new law has given you 90 days window opportunity to ensure that you recover that money back. After you have spent it, you bought a laptop, you bought a phone, you bought whatever equipment, any item you have bought that you have VATed. And when you are not supposed to pay back VAT, you can now recover that money. What is important is that you must be able to keep your record tidy. We'll speak to that as we progress. So the goods and services, fixed asset used in generating those taxable supplies are now free. So your cash, you now have enough cash. So your cash are not tied into those, all your working capital are not tied into VAT, so you can recover them back within 90 days. Expanded exemptions. So you now also have what we call an expanded. Before, the exemption were restricted, but it's now expanded. So all essential goods and services like basic food, healthcare, education, electricity, all of these are completely exempt. They are either exempt or they are zero rated. So we also have what we now, that is now being introduced on this VAT. We call it e-invoicing. E-invoicing is what we call VAT fiscalization and electronic invoicing, which enables the VAT, the tax office, the tax authority, to have access online, real time to every of your transaction. But it is not meant for the small. The good news is that it's not meant for the small businesses yet. The businesses that are under that category are businesses that are doing 5 billion and above. So you are expected to have your e-invoicing, so that as soon as you invoice your customer, it goes straight, both you as a seller and even as a supplier, whatever the case may be, it goes straight, and the system also identify them. Next. So we all have this listed item is either sitting as a zero rated or exempt. For basic food item, anything that we call basic food, your bread, your off form of food, for things to, that's part of what can actually prepare the economy to improve from what we currently have. You know, when we talk about the macro and the micro, so certain policies must be able to trigger the environment. Whatever you are doing, if you are a food seller, you must know now that you don't need any form of food that you are into. You are exempted from VAT. So if you also have rent is now exempted. If you have an apartment, your office where you stay, and the landlord rates an invoice to you and includes VAT. So you have right to ask the landlord to please take that off, because rent is not exempt from VAT. You are not to be charged VAT on rent. There is also educational services, and both books, schools are not meant to charge VAT. So you are zero value added tax exempt, taking you are off of VAT. Health and medical services, every kind of medical service that you take, as long as you are into that area, whether you are a pharmacy, as a small business, you have a pharmacy shop, you are not meant to do VAT. So you are completely exempted. Small companies, like I've mentioned before, are also exempted from charging VAT. Before now, diesel is either in between. The old law was not expressly or explicit about it, but this new law says that if you are buying diesel, you are selling diesel, it should be at no VAT. VAT is completely exempted and is suspended. If you do solar power equipment, you are also not going to be doing VAT. So if you are into panel selling as a business owner, you are not meant to do VAT. You are exempted from VAT. However, if you have a situation whereby you bring in those items and they have deducted it from source, maybe at the port of entry, they've charged you those VAT, what you just need to do is to request for your refund, and the system has been put in place to get you refunded within 90 days. Refund of your VAT and all that is available. Refund your VAT on both on asset and the overhead to produce your vatable goods and services is the process is there. What you just need is to ensure that when you do these purchases, ensure you have your receipt documented, put them together ahead of your filing. Next. So we'll also have all agricultural inputs. For some of us that are also into agricultural business, whether you sell seedling, you do fertilizer, you do livestock, or you do any form of agricultural inputs, whether you are a proper farmer or you sell farming equipment, you are also exempted from VAT. So disability aids, these are hearing aids, wheelchairs, the materials that is being used for any form of disability, those are also exempted from VAT. So if you have anything of sort, you can recover what you have been charged. Now, we also have electric vehicle. Electric vehicle, both the vehicle itself and the parts are also exempted from VAT. And this is to stimulate the economy, production to increase so that more people can go into that business. As a business owner, you look at all this that has been mentioned are areas you can go into that you will not need to pay any form of taxes to the government. You can also look at the area of baby products. If your business is selling of baby products, you are also meant to take advantage of sanitary pad and so on, land and building and so on. Next. So as a small business, also you are exempted from withholding tax. So small companies are exempted from withholding tax on their income and on their payment to suppliers. As a manufacturer, if any of us is also into any form of manufacturing, whether big or small, you are completely exempted because your material is expected to go into production. So you don't need to do withholding tax so that your working capital will not be tied down as a result of that. Withholding tax is actually not a tax, but it's just an advance payment that is being made by the taxpayer to the tax authority. So you are not meant to, you are exempted from that. So I've spoken a lot about the agricultural business. So the same way we are exempted. So let's move to the next slide. So these are specific incentives available for startups. For the company income tax, the incentive there is that you have zero company income tax rates. For small company, like I've mentioned, small company is company with less than or equals to 100 million and less than or equals to 250 million worth of assets. So applicable to trade lenders, customers, all the clients with trade lenders, if your business falls under this threshold, you pay zero income tax. And which is from 30% that we have down to zero. So that makes your business to have available money. Your profit can now be reinvested to grow the business. Without necessarily have it tied into the tax authorities' arm. Then for startup and innovations, you also have what we call the tax holidays. The tax holiday is given to you so that you can have a breathing space. Take enough time to make your mistake, your errors, and be able to put your capitals together while the business continue to strive. And after you are done within the tax holiday, then you can start paying tax. Those are the kind of incentive. So 50% of employment relief on salaries of new hires that are also retained for the next 3 years are also going to be given to you as part of your relief. Directly reduces your tax bill based on hiring costs. Withholding tax for small companies is exempt. Withholding tax deduction, I've mentioned that earlier. You can also have an improved cash flow for all that you do, both as a fintech startup. You can also have that on your interest on income, as long as you fall within that threshold. Development levy, you have what we call the development levy. I think I've spoken so much about that. Well, it's been consolidated to 4%, but for small companies, you are fully exempt. You are not going to be paying the company income tax. You are not also going to pay the 4% development levy. You are not going to pay the VAT. You are not going to be paying the withholding tax. So you have a reduced compliance burden, and you are able to strive as a business. So what you just need, we'll speak to that as we go on. So we also have specific tax incentive available for startup. The investment incentive, we'll talk about the gain from investment that are labeled startup. These are incentive for every business that are labeled a startup. We'll also look at it from the angle that it makes the startup more attractive. So everybody can be encouraged to go into starting up a business. Apart from the policy is to ensure that the system also trigger up production so that we can have our domestic production in a better. Sorry for that. I think I have an interruption there. So we have what we call also stamp duty. There's an exemption to a particular threshold on stamp duties if you are doing under 10,000. That is also what the position of the new law says. So it reduces your operational costs. Because if you do number of 10,000 in multiple time and you are being charged, that's will have taken part of your working capital. Then what they will also call capital gains tax. The capital gains tax is also a form of tax that you pay as a business owner when you do disposal of your assets. So the gain, if you bought the asset for 100,000 and you sold for 150,000, the 50,000 on it is regarded as your capital gain. So, and you are meant to pay tax on it. But because of the new law, you are completely exempted when you also sell some shares. Is also one of your assets. When you sell shares worth above 150 million, that's when you will pay tax. If you sell less than 150 million, you don't pay tax. And if you also make 10 million by selling your shares, maybe you invested in trade lender shares when they come out to stock exchange, you keep that money. 10 million profit still sits with you. So any form of investment that you also do as a small business, you are protected. You protect your 30, instead of you going with the new position that 30% is charged, you are completely on charge. Next. So while we are speaking, 1 minute, please. While we are speaking, we also need to understand that why you do the right thing, your business thrive. But when we do the wrong thing, the business will suffer, and those suffering will come from penalties that the tax authority, because the tax authority is empowered. They have been empowered to be able to take care of any citizen or any business that will not align with the position of the law. And that is why it is important as business owners, as individuals, who must be able to understand what is the position of the law regarding most of these discussions that we're having. So for fines for not compliance, for late filing or incorrect remittance, so you have penalty. For instance, when you do not file a VAT or withholding tax as a company that is not categorized under small company, you will be paying a penalty of 10% plus interest. For dispute resolution, the new tax law has also given everyone an opportunity which we must take as a business owner. There's a tax ombudsman. They call them the tax ombudsman because it could be a man, it could be a lady, so it could be a woman. So a new tax ombuds office has now been created so that as a small business owner, when you have issue and you do not have capacity to get a professional advice, or you do not have a lawyer, you do not have a professional accountant or a tax consultant to assist you, you can also speak to the office of a tax ombudsman. So they are there to also support you at no cost, to help you. In case there is an harassment, somebody is coming and they want to lock up your business, you can call the office of a tax ombudsman and they will be able to intervene on your behalf. Next. So the key takeaway for our discussion this morning is that we have for personal income tax, what you keep in your pocket. Now for personal income tax, which we call payee, P-A-Y-E. It is meant that for anyone earning below or within the range of minimum wage, they are going to be paying no tax. No tax. They are tax-free. Any individual earning 800,000 per annum or an approximately 100,000 gross, right? The person is meant to pay 0 personal income tax. Now, you can also, as a result of this new tax law, have ability to get deduction. One of the deduction is rent, and you can get up to 500,000 in terms of your deductions. You also have allowable deduction insurance, allowable deduction on premium, that is insurance that you do. All those insurance premium, you can also get them as part of your tax deductible expenses. Now, for the digital economy and the side hustle, I'll use the word side hustle. So some of these are not full-time business that is being run, but we are also making good money out of it. So you are now not under radar any longer. If you are doing digital economy and side hustle before, now the new laws say explicitly target all the income that you make on digital platform, whether it is freelancing, whether it's content creation, royalty that you are getting for one thing or the other. So it's under the radar now. You are expected to be within the coffer and also pay tax. So the final part on our takeaway is you have to be able to look at it. The major part is to look at your status as a business owner, as individual. You look at, do I qualify as a small company to enjoy this company income tax and VAT exemptions? How do you do that? What has been your turnover? Do you have a record? If you do not, you need to start ensuring that you have a record that you can determine that, okay, I am within the threshold of of a small company because I do not have up to 100 million turnover. And as you progress, you also know when you are going outside of that threshold. The second part is that you digitize your record. This is the easiest thing. The simple thing that you can do is also to take advantage of those simple accounting tools. You can also make use of your Excel. You can make use of QuickBooks. All these, there are also free software that you can have access to online that you can keep accurate record. You can also do that on your mobile phone. Your mobile phone, your Android phone, your all the phones that you carry in your hand also have the capacity to help you keep those records so that you'll be in a well position in when opportunities are coming. You also review contracts. You go back and start reviewing the contract that you are having as a freelancer, as a contractor. You need to renegotiate to account for the new position of the law. So if you are made yourself open before as a business, you need to go back and start making those review. And finally, you could also seek for professional advice. Engage a qualified tax consultant to guide you through these changes, especially if you operate across state line or internationally. So because you need to now be able to manage payee of your staff from one state to the other because of the residency rule. And finally, I will say embrace change and lead the future. The world is shifting, and those who adapt and innovate will be the one to lead the way. Just like TradeLender has given this webinar an opportunity to get all the clients, all the customers informed better than what you were before. So take advantage of this, embrace this change so that you can lead the future. When you are well positioned, you are able to do more than that is expected. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for shedding all of that light on, the tax reforms and what we need to do as small and medium scale business owners. Please let's all just appreciate Mr. Daly for the time that he has given. That was a very, very simplified but insightful session. He was able to shed a lot of light. You know what you need to do, you know the things that are important to you as a small business owner, you know where you can make tweaks in your business to ensure that you are compliant, and you even know the things that are really the perks that are available to you. So thank you very much, Mr. Daly, for all of that. At
Thank you for
this
having me.
point, we will be having taking questions. If you have any questions, which I believe you should have questions, our speaker is still on the call, ready to answer your questions, deal with your concerns. You can put your questions in the chat box. Please put your questions in the chat box. Okay, we can see some questions. Sir, so I'm just going to ask the first question, and then maybe you can take it up from there. While we wait for others, please go ahead and put your questions in the chat box. Or the first question I can see here is from Ade Kola. It says, please, is the 800,000 exemption on income tax gross or net?
Okay, so what we call the 800,000 is taxable income. So I will quickly explain what that means. Now, for taxable income, it is your gross less the deductions. For instance, you are earning 100,000 a month. Gross for a year is going to be 1.2 million. So to arrive at 800, it means that your pension has been deducted, your NSITF has been deducted, and if you have a life assurance has been deducted. So the net is what we call the taxable income. And also if you have a rent receipts, you can take advantage of up to 500,000 depending on where you stay. If you are paying 2.5 million, you can exhaust entirely the 500,000 relief. But if you pay less, it is that percentage of what you pay that you are going to get. So it's 20% of that 2.5 million that will arrive at that amount. So your net, your that 800,000 is the taxable income, not the gross. I hope that answered your questions.
Thank you very much, sir. I hope that answers your questions. All right. Ade says, yes, it does. Thank
Oh,
you for
great.
that, sir. We have another question in the chat box. This is from Ephraim. He says, if I offer a service to a school as a small business owner with a turnover of less than 100 million, is the school supposed to take withholding tax on the service I offer? I just need clarifications.
Okay, great. That's a fantastic question. So, as a business that is regarded as small business, you are not meant to be charged withholding tax. You are exempted. So, what you should also note is that you yourself will not also charge. If the school is under the category of a small business because they are not making up to 100 million, they are not meant to charge and they are not meant to be charged. So both sides, it is two sides. While you are not going to be charged, you are also not going to charge somebody because you are under the category of a small business. I hope that clarifies your question.
If you're on the call, you can confirm if this clarifies your questions and just your concerns in the chat box. Please keep your questions coming in. We're still expecting some more questions. Mr. James says, how can SMEs take advantage of the new VAT law, especially recovering impute VAT?
Okay, so the best option that I've mentioned that will also guide you through is that for your business, you do what we call bookkeep. You don't need to get an accountant to be able to bookkeep. What it means is that the sales you make today, you record them. The expenditure you make, you record them. When you pay money, ensure that it is receipted. Those receipts that you are going to be given when they charge you those VATs, you take those receipts as a proof that you have been charged VAT. If they have charged you VAT worth about 100,000, you write to the revenue office that is close to you or where you are registered. So you go there and request for your refund. They are meant under the law to ensure that they process your refund within 90 days. Now, if you need to take advantage of this, what we always say is that because it is the Nigerian Revenue Service that is going to be giving you this refund, not the states. So if you are registering, one of the things that we advise is as a small business, make sure that you are registered not only as a business name, you register as a limited liability company because it is you as a limited liability, you are a legal entity of your own, and you can now apply to the Nigerian Revenue Service, which will give you what we call the tax identification number, through which you can process your refund. So it makes it easier for you to do your processing because with or without you being there, your details have been passed to them. They know that you exist in the database, and your account will be credited with your refund. As simple as that.
Thank you, sir. So we have a follow-up question from Ephraim, who spoke to if he wants a service for his school. His follow-up question is, what if the school is not in the range of a small business? So if I am in the range of a small business and the school is not in the range of a small business, how does this affect withholding tax for him?
So as long as you are not above the threshold of a small business, they are not meant to charge you withholding tax. Let your identity be known that you are a small business. And the law, even before now, before this new law, there is a category of an amount that a threshold rather that has been given before now. When your transaction with them is not more than 2 million. In the old law, that's the Finance Act, it explicitly said that if your transaction is not more than 2 million, but now you are even more than that, but you have to be seen in the category of a small business that is not doing above 100 million. They will not be in position to charge you as long as you are. So it's just to be able to clarify that. And when you say you are a small business, not the one that your one of your invoice alone is 50 million, they will not regard you as a small business. Or your one of your invoice is 100 million. They will look at you, how can only our invoice be the only basis of you calling yourself a small business? So, but when you are in that range and the transaction you have done with them, they will not charge you for withholding tax.
All right. So Ephraim, all right, I can get confirmation from Ephraim that he now understands. Thank you very much, sir, for that. We have another question from Ayolua. Says, good afternoon, Mr. Daly. Thank you very much for the class. Do I have to collect VAT from users of my e-commerce platform, bearing in mind that the company is not above the 100 million threshold?
Okay, do you have, oh, sorry, let me get that. Do you have to collect a VAT from
Yes.
users? Okay, so if you are not expressly, I think we need to get that. If you are not expressly among those that are regarded as exemption, I've mentioned that in the list. So the moment you are not there, let me give you a good example. An example, it may not be a very good one, but an example. If you go to where they sell food, we said food is exempted, right? But you
Yes.
decide not to eat in just normal shop that average person will go and eat. You decide to go to Eco Meridians or you go to a hotel to go and eat. They will charge you VAT because in that platform, it is not people or category of people that are expected to be there, to be claiming that they are small, right? So those are the categories of people that will be saying that I earn or I am small or I am low earners. A low earner, as a low earner, you eat within the range of where you get 10,000 and you are okay. But you will not go to a place where there is a bottle of Coke that you will have bought for 500 or 1,000. They are selling it there, 50,000, and you pay. So they assume for you to be in that location. So the same thing when you are on e-commerce. Is e-commerce among those that are exempted? If the answer is no, or any other one, so you cannot get exemption from that platform. So you look at the platform and you look at what the position of the law. But however, as an e-commerce business, if you have registered also, if you are the owner of an e-commerce business, if you are registered and you are categorized as a small business, you are meant to enjoy all the privileges of a small business. But if your activities are not VAT exempt, you are meant to charge VAT. It is only when you are not, you are within that threshold or within the categories of those that are not meant to charge. I don't know if I'm able to do justice to that. If I'm not, let me know. I mentioned to us that basic food are exempted. I mentioned to us that educational services materials are zero rated. I mentioned to us that health medical services are exempted. I also mentioned that diesel, petrol, solar power equipment, if all these are categories of what you are doing on that platform, you are VAT exempt. But if not, your VAT will be charged. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ayo Lua says thank you. Thank you, sir. So another question, as we round up, we're taking the questions. Jacob says, I am a startup and I just moved my business to a limited liability. When do I start my filing?
Okay, so by law, you have what we call 18 months. 18 months, which means that, for instance, if you pick your accounting year between January to December, we are not expected to file by December. It is, you have between January to June, the preceding year, to file. So you have 6 months in addition to the 12 months that you have operated. So if you have registered, if you just register and you just commence this year, so it means that you are not going to be due for filing until June 2027. I hope that clarifies that.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that clarifies that. Please, Jacob, if you do not understand, kindly share in the chat box. And our last question in the chat box is from Jamie. Jamie says, for PIT, from annual gross, we deduct pension, NSITF, life insurance, and rent relief. The balance, what are the new bands and percentages? And
Okay,
he had
so
a further question. What is this personal filing about and where is it filed? Do you want me to take that question again, sir?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So if I get the question rightly, for your bands, before now we have the old tax charges from 0 to 300,000. The new one says the old one will charge you 7% on your first 300,000. But the new law says that you will only be charged after 800,000. So your first 0 to 800,000 tax amount, taxable income is 0. So you have 0. So it is the next 1.2 million that you now get 15% as tax. So, and it's graduated like that, up to 25%. You have 15%. So you get up to 24%, then you now have 25%. Now, for 25% does not mean that it will be slammed on your on your income directly, because they are graduated. So if the money is 10 million, or if it's, let's say, 1 million, the 1 million will first of all be taxed with the first 15%. The remaining 200,000 will also be charged with the next percentage until it's exhausted. So, and for you to be able to also file, you file within the location you live. If you are resident in Lagos, the residency rule states that you should file where you live. If you are working in Lagos and you live in Lagos, your pay as you earn is filed to Lagos State Internal Revenue. If you stay in Abuja, you file to the FCT. If you stay in Ogun State, you file with the Ogun State Internal, depending if it's Enugu, regardless of the location, that is where your residency rule, where you spend. Residency rule means where you spend not less than 183 days in a year. That is where you regard as your resident, where you are living. So, but if you spend less than that, you are living in Lagos, but you spend less than 183 days, it cannot be claimed to be living in Lagos. Out of 365 days, you are still spending less than so. But for you to be, you have 183 days, and that's where the residency rule applies. I hope that answers your question. Is there any other one that I missed?
All right. Someone else, Kehinde, is asking this as a follow-up to Jacob's question. Jacob's question was with respect to moving from a business to a limited liability. Kehinde's question is, Please follow up from Jacob's question. We just moved to limited liability, but we are not just commencing the business. Do we still have the 18-month filing period?
Okay, wonderful. So for your business name, you will file as an individual. But as far as the law is concerned, you just registered as a limited liability. That is when you start counting your 18 months. But for the other one, you are meant to file as a business name. And business name means that it is individual that files, not the company. The law does not see you as a company when you are registered with business name. So it is you that is the owner of the asset. If you look at your asset, it is in your name. Whatever you have made as income is also in your name. So you have to clear that with the states while you not manage the new registered incorporated company with the Nigerian Revenue Service. I hope that answered your question.
All right. Thank you very much. And our last question for the day. What if this one me? What if the business is not registered and makes more than 1 million monthly? How will the government charge them?
Okay, so that is why we're saying that you have to act wise. You don't wait for the government to come and discover you, because the government has digital tools to identify transactions now. The bank are now under obligation to report certain threshold of inflow to the government. So if you wait, then you will not be at the good side of the law. So you are advised to quickly make an arrangement and do the needful. One of the needful is for you to be able to say, I am so company and I need to come and file my tax. Put your records together. Nobody is going to accuse you. But there is also a plan for that the government is also bringing up, which has not come up, waiting for approval, that those that are being in this small category of businesses that have not been filing before now, there is going to be a kind of amnesty for them up to last year. So it is in your own interest also to be able to take advantage of the new law now, register your business, and so that your activity will not be disrupted and that you will not be forced to pay penalty. In fact, not only penalty, it also includes a jail term. So for us not to be on the wrong side of the law, let's ensure that we do the needful. As long as you are doing business, you register your business and you end up not paying any tax. It's just to go and register and ensure you do by the time you do your documentation rightly, you are positioned yourself to the point that you may not pay any tax at all, but when you now grow to the point that you cannot start paying tax, you will not pay. You have also positioned yourself to the point that if investors are coming, they will rather take the ones that has records, that can speak to figures, that can speak to activities that they are doing. You can't be telling an investor that this business I'm doing, I'm making so much money, and you don't have records. So you are advised to ensure that you go do your documentation. While the government, the tax is saying, the new tax is encouraging you to do that, is also a plus for every business owner to be able to do documentation to enable them have access to so many things. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And then this is the very, very last question.
Okay.
Just to quickly indulge you, sir. If I own a house in Lagos and use it for rent, what is the position of the tax law as regards income generated from collecting rent on that house?
Okay, fantastic. So if you own a house, you get an income. That rent is an income. If you own the house in your name and you generate an income, so you are made to do what we call self-assessment. And self-assessment is to the Lagos State internal revenue. You will declare that this is what you are making from your regular business, and this is what you are making from your rental income. And this rental income, the net on that rental income, you are also allowed to say that these are also what you incurred to be able to get that rental income, and the net, the tax will be done on it, and you'll be made to pay to the state's internal revenue. So as long as you are getting that rental, is an income and it has to be declared.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for all of just the information that you have put out. I'm pretty sure that we are stuffed with information and we have just received as much as we need to be able to open our eyes and just take us away from the ignorant path to a more educated and literate path. So thank you again. Thank you to everyone for sending in your questions. You have indeed made the session very interactive and very educative as well, with the questions and of course answers from our very well-renowned professional accountant that has been doing this for over 25 years. Even as we round up, I'd just like to share some of the major key takeaways that you need to know. Aside from all of the numbers and the specific parts of the Tax Reforms Act, as our speaker mentioned, the first thing that you should know is to confirm your status. Do I fall under the small business, under a small company, based on what I am racking up from my business? Do I fall within the threshold of a small company? The second thing you should do and always pay attention to is to digitize your records. Yeah, make use of just the small accounting tools that are available to you to be able to digitize your records, because this is very, very important. You need to maintain proper books. Also, you need to review your contracts. If you have contracts that you have already gotten into that might have exposed you based on the new law, it's important that you go back, review the contracts to ensure that you are properly protected and you are maximizing the opportunity the law has brought to you. And then finally, and most importantly, seek professional help. You can never really go wrong with seeking or speaking to a professional about this, because they are very much equipped to assist you in this regard. These things are very, very important. Also, before we proceed, before we leave our webinar today, we want to also just congratulate the early birds. At the beginning of the webinar, we mentioned that we were going to give some complimentary gifts to the early birds that attended the webinar, that were here on time to be on the call. So congratulations to you. We have picked out a number of people: Edil Lafoy, Kolade Olowo Lafe, Judith, Jacob Abiodun, Divine Patrick, Louis Shelton, Mohammed Ibrahim, Hope Obona, Opemi, and Ife Bakare. You are all eligible, or you have all been picked to as the winners of our early bird complimentary gift. Please download the app using the link that you can see in the chat box, or you can go to your Apple Store or Play Store to download the Trade Lender app to have access to this. Congratulations to everyone. And also, if you need to communicate with anyone at Trade Lender, if you have further questions on maybe how to go about opening and operating a Trade Lender account, and all of the things that are available to you, solutions available to you with Trade Lender, you can call us on 0201 700064, or you can chat us on WhatsApp 08055166987. The numbers are currently on the chat box. You can just look through the chats and get the information that that is needed. If there is anybody that were unable to take your questions, we apologize to you. Our time has really it's just been fast spent, and we hope that you've received as much information as you need to be able to properly maximize this opportunity. Once again, I want to thank you, thank our speaker for doing justice to this topic. If he's still on the call, if you can just thank him once again.
Thank you
so
for
much, sir.
having me.
You did a very, very good job, and we appreciate it. And also thank you for every single person who decided to participate. I'm pretty sure that this has educated you in the information that you need. And it is our hope that you use the information you've received to better position yourself and your business to maximize this opportunity. Also, don't forget that you can get all of the help you need, all of the assistance. If you need someone to hold your hand, Trade Lender is definitely going to do that for you. Download the app, reach out to us on WhatsApp or via call, and we will be ready to assist you. It is on this note that we can bring the webinar to an end until we meet again for another webinar, which will be very, very much educative and informative. Thank you so much for joining. Have a lovely day ahead, and we wish you all the best in your business ventures. Bye, everyone.
Bye.